So welcome judges, my name is Alex and I did my presentation on functional movement screening. My advisory teacher is Mr. Gazelle. So first a little bit about me, a few school accomplishments. I'm the financial advisor this year. I'm an ASB officer along with my friends Rick Tagasel and Alejandro Alvarez. We're in charge of the leadership class. We hold forums. We communicate between the student body to administration, lead rallies, MC, all sorts of leadership events. It's really fun. I'm also bilingual. I went to school at Flowery Elementary, where I learned English and Spanish growing up. Also, I had a babysitter when I was little who only spoke Spanish, so it helped me to kind of get Spanish practice both at school and at home. I'm considered an AP scholar. Means I've taken 8 AP classes, passed a few of the tests, get some AP credit in college, which is always good. My GPA is 4.08, weighted, obviously. I was a sports anchor on the broadcast team. We do broadcasts about every month, or we try to, and I kept the school updated on all the sports teams. I actually did a sports rap with my buddy Vince, where we included all the sports teams. It was really fun. I also made a movie for the Film Fest this year called Cat, again with my partner in crime, Vince Caruso. It was in the Film Fest. There's a picture of it right there in the right-hand corner. I was also a link crew leader. I helped freshmen get accustomed to the high school environment coming from middle school. And I was also just named Student of the Year a few weeks ago for the senior class. So here's a picture of me playing football. Football is one of my favorite extracurricular sports. A little bit about the awards I received this year. So I was the middle linebacker and right guard for our team this year. I played both offense and defense. I got first team All-SCL for the last 2 years as a defensive linebacker. This year I got second team All-Empire. I was really honored. I was also inducted into the National Football Federation Scholar Athlete Hall of Fame. I went to this big banquet in the city in February and was honored with 21 other football players from California. So that was really cool. I was also just named the Press Democrat Scholar Athlete of the Year for the Redwood Empire, along with, I want to say, 7 other award winners for small school and large schools in athlete and scholar athlete categories. Within my team, I was named the Defensive Player of the Year for the last 2 years. I also played basketball. I was on the varsity team for 3 years as a starter. I got all-tourney in the Stokes tournament in Kelseyville, so that was fun. Had a good time playing basketball with my friends. I did get a lot of news coverage, and in every single newspaper picture I was in, I had my mouth open, as in these 3 pictures. So that was kind of funny. It's a funny little thing for you. My college plans for next year are going to UC Berkeley in the fall. I'm super excited. So into my functional movement screening, what sparked my interest, I actually got screened when I was 11 years old with my brother. My dad took us into my mentor's boot camp when he was first getting started. So I got screened. I didn't follow up on the corrective exercises, however, so I haven't seen any change in my body, symmetrical. I'll get into what it is later. So that kind of sparked my interest, the fact that my mentor is still using functional movement screening at his boot camp for the last 5 years. I thought that was pretty cool. Also, just being an athlete, I've been around people getting injured, I've gotten injured myself. It's really not the best time when you're the guy on the sidelines, watching your team play. It's just not that fun. So anything that can help correct, imbalance and reduce injuries, I'm all for hearing and studying. So this is the logo for functional movement screening. There's 3 of the exercises down there at the bottom. Next slide, please. So before FMS, there were a bunch of tests and screens that were specific to one sport or activity that didn't really do your overall body for any activity that you did. So really, people had asymmetry in their body, and geometrically, asymmetry is the picture on the right here where it's not even. So symmetry in the body means there's no compensation, and no compensation for any actions leads to less injury. An example is baseball. You're always throwing with your right arm, so your left arm's a little weaker, and you're going to have to compensate in your body, and that's how you get musculoskeletal injury on your right side or left side. So what it is specifically, functional movement screening is a quick test, very simple test, that looks for symmetry, balance, and flexibility in your body. So there are 7 exercises that you do: the deep squat, the hurdle step, the lunge, the shoulder mobility test, the straight leg raise, the trunk push-up, and the rotary stability. All these take about a minute to 2 minutes each. So overall, it's about a 9 to 10 minute screen. So again, very simple, very quick. So each exercise is scored on a 0 to 3 scale. A 3 would be you do the exercise perfectly, and a 0 is given if there's any pain present. There's also 3 clearing exercises to just test for pain for different exercises. So very simple. And once you get your grade for all 7, they assign you corrective exercises. I'll get into that. So my mentor at his boot camp, as I referred to before, uses a band system when he assigns his correctives. So he has all of his clients come in before they start his boot camp and get screened with the FMS. And they get all assigned correctives for the exercises that they don't pass. So if they get a 1 or a 0, they'll get a red band for hurdle step or a green band for deep squat. So they're going to have different bands when they come into the actual boot camp. This helps the trainers assign exercises during the boot camp that won't hurt them even more. And also when they stretch before they start exercising, they can break up into groups where their colored bands match, so they all do the same corrective exercise. So it's a really helpful, kind of interesting way to run the boot camp. So now into my research paper. My thesis was, while some critics may argue that new sports science cannot make football any safer, new equipment and improved treatment, such as functional movement screening, really do make it easier on the bodies of football players. So I, kind of narrowed it down to just football players instead of athletes in general. And I also didn't just talk about functional movement screening. I talked about gear, how that's improving, and how treatment after the injury happens is improving to get athletes back on the field faster. So those were my body paragraphs, those 3 points right there. Overall, I'm just kind of saying that it's improving and athletes are, getting on the field more than, being on the sideline injured, which is a good thing, obviously. So my activity, I started by taking an online course to get certified. This course had, I want to say, 25 videos that range from 2 minutes to 20 minutes. So I just watched those, told me all about, the origins and how to screen, what to look for, what not to look for, and I took notes on those. After I finished the certification, I took the test to get my actual certification. I observed a group screening with my mentor. He had a class coming into his boot camp that hadn't gotten screened yet, so I watched him screen 16 different people. So I took notes. He told me what to look for. So I really got some, experience up close. I came home after that and screened some of my family members and a few of my friends. I don't think any of them followed up on their corrective exercises though, which is too bad, but it's okay. So after that, I kind of had a little experience. So I went one-on-one with my mentor and screened my mom in front of him. So he saw everything I was doing, and he screened her as well. So to make sure we got similar scores, and that was probably the most helpful it got when it was just me and him together without 16 other people there. Next slide, please. So the highlight, like I said, was the part where I learned the most, where it was just me and my mentor and my mom, the person I was screening. Observing and taking the online notes, it was helpful and all, but that was really the main part where I learned the most. Also, when I was screening my mother, she had an injury in her shoulder before it, like 3 years ago. And when she did the shoulder mobility test, it looks kind of like this. You try to touch your hands behind your back, as far as you can. And she could touch her fingers on one side, but on the other, she didn't even get close. So, I saw firsthand that these exercises are testing, the fundamental movements that we use. And, I got to see that what we're testing actually works. It's actually effective. So a little bit about my mentor. He owns Adventure Boot Camp in Napa and St. Helena. I think there's a class in Sonoma. His name's Jeff Larson. He's also really into mountain climbing, as you can see in that picture. So it's kind of hard to reach him when he was at the top of a mountain. He's certified in so many different things. The list goes on. Includes kettlebells, massage, all these different things. You can read them if you want. Next slide. So I'm going to show you how to do one of the exercises just on myself. This one's the hurdle step. So here's the FMS kit. You can see it. It consists of 2 small bars and this one big bar. This one's used for all the measurement. It has inches here. So for the hurdle step, you're going to want to measure the ankle to the tibia length. So for myself, it would be about 19.5 inches. So you'll match that to here on both sides. So that's where the bungee cord rests. And then the client stands here with the bar, like a back squat, puts his feet together, toes against the kit, and he's going to lift over the bar, touch the ankle, and come back. So they do that with both legs. Most of these exercises are testing both sides of the body. Obviously, you're looking for symmetry, so it makes sense. Here in the pictures on the slide here, the guy in the blue, he'll be getting a 1 because, as you can see, the bar is lopsided. That means his core is not stable. And also his knee has to come out in order to go over the bungee cord. The gentleman in the black got a 3 because everything's nice and straight. He's got everything, the bars parallel to the floor, and everything's straight. He goes over the bar. If they do touch the bungee cord in this particular exercise, they automatically get a 1. And obviously, if they have any pain, they'll tell the proctor, which is me in this case, and he'll assign a 0. And they'll automatically get a corrective. So the corrective for this, if they do get a 1 or a 0, would be finding a table and placing their leg like so on the table that's about hip length. And over time, they'll bounce on their toes while they're doing that stretch. And in about 6 weeks, they'll take the test again and see if they improve. So my learning stretch was I went from someone who just had gotten screened, when I was younger, to a certified screener with experience. I also learned a lot with this senior project as a whole about an interesting topic. It's really cool to see how the body works and the fundamental movements. And I got practice to write a research paper and doing an oral presentation, speaking in public. So that's always good tools to have, especially going to college. So future goals, like I said, I will attend UC Berkeley in the fall. I'll major in business there. I hope to find out, what I want to do, hopefully get some internships coming out of college. I will consider majoring in kinesiology if business doesn't work out. I really find all this body stuff interesting, and hopefully I'll use FMS coming into college, and maybe it'll get implemented in this high school's sports, their sports. So I'd like to thank all the judges for hearing me out. Hopefully this topic was interesting to you. I really enjoyed doing the whole activities and the hours, and had fun presenting. So thank you. Any questions? For me, it was the research paper because I turned it in about 9 or 10 times. My first ones were very factual, and that's not what they want. So, and it was also too broad at the beginning. It was all about FMS, and they told me you need to expand it, make it about sports in general or concussions, something you could talk about more. So I broadened it to the 3 types of improvements in sports, and kind of made it about football. So I broadened it. It would have been nice to have had an example research paper to look at. And, I think I completed my hours on time with room to spare. I'd say writing my research paper and checking in with my English teacher before it's actually due, right? Instead of just turning it in on the due dates and having it not pass and waiting for the next due date. I'd say they'd make it clear as to where to turn in, the portfolio and your poster and your research paper, because it, changes from your advisory teacher to Ms. Bertel. So they're not very clear on that. I do like, however, the remind messages, the text messages they give us, because that's really helpful. It's kind of the main way they communicate with the seniors. Well, I feel like some people chose one that would be easy for senior project, but I would recommend doing something that interests you because it's easier to talk about something that interests you in your oral presentation. It's easier to write about it. And the hours, they kind of fly by. So